have I added Asmongold into my repertoire of people that I follow for news information? Welcome to day 173 until I am a YouTube millionaire. So, there's a couple layers to this. The first one is there's a certain decentralization of information that is necessary in order to prevent that information from being corrupted by a central negative force. The centralized media, the legacy media, used to do that to everybody all the time. I really hope that this is at least somewhat obvious to people now, the majority of people, and I think it is. That was the first level that needed to be dismantled in order to make a good amount of real, proper information possible to get to us. Then the next one is to have the right information put in front of individuals who have no vested interest in lying to you. Asmongold is just a dude. He's very rich because he hit the jackpot and was at the right place and the right time to become really big on very big social media platforms, primarily Twitch and YouTube. The guy makes on the order of $150,000 a month. He's very, very, very wealthy. But he's, other than that, just a pretty normal dude. He calls himself a degenerate, and I can see why and how he says that. He's not necessarily a faithful person. I do hope that that changes for him in the future, because he's definitely faithful adjacent in that he associates more with those who are faithful than those who are not. He has more in common with them. He has relatively liberal perspectives in terms of like wanting a universal basic income, abortion rights, stuff like that. But he has a libertarian perspective on that, in that he does not believe we all should be forced to pay for those things. That is, we can vote for it if the timeline bears out that we go in one of those directions. It's bearing out right now that we're going to get rid of Planned Parenthood in the very near future. Thank God. Thank God. And that we're removing abortion as something that's considered. That's a very good thing. Protect life. It is a man's duty to protect life, and I think he understands that on some level, even though he's decided to live as a degenerate, as he says himself on many occasions. So, you have to have somebody who does not have a vested interest in lying to you. It would be the case where he did if his advertising revenue, where he made his money, required him to lie. But that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. The YouTube ad companies are no longer falling in line with the social justice warrior wokeism cult that we've been trying to navigate for the past decade and a half. There's still some of it out there, but not nearly like it was. And then, in that he does not have that vested interest, he also will just make a video on a topic. And if there are one or two things that I'm missing about that topic because it wasn't put into the main news story, he has an aggregated, collected knowledge from his chats, the people who watch him, that he can fill in the blanks where I missed. Fill in what I'm not seeing. Even with that, look at what happened with Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, and that they're actually trying to convince people that Epstein did unalive himself. No, he didn't. But the point behind that is that they're trying to show you that what they saw was so unbelievably bad that even they want you to believe the narrative. People who have hundreds of millions of dollars invested into being honest and truthful and forthright with you. Dan Bongino, he left his humongous Rumble platform to do what he's doing. So if even they are saying this, something that you and I both know is a blatant lie, then it's bad. It's really bad. Like, whatever you think is going on, multiply it by at least 10. That bad. So, you still have to have your own critical thinking in addition to that. A decentralized form of communication, decentralized sources of information. Have them fill in the blanks where you're missing. Have many sources of information. And then think critically to yourself. In a world where we actually could trust each other perfectly or close to perfectly, a lot of this wouldn't be necessary. But because of those little gremlins that fill in the cracks, it is. So who of you out there actually believe that Epstein unalived himself? Committed self-deletion? Who among you believe that the number one, defendant, or not defendant, but subject of the case, as a very well-known person to have absconded with a lot of high-level leadership in our country and the world, unalived herself as well. She even said that I would never do that, and if it ever does happen or look like it, I didn't do it. Think for yourselves, guys. That's the principal thing we're trying to get out of this, because we live in a world that takes advantage of our high trust with one another. That's what the dark force does. All right, that's it for today, guys. Love y'all.